What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, T's Good Times Garage. I'm your host, T. It's March, but Utah don't care. Yeah, we can't seem to stop getting winter. That's all right. We're headed back out to the shop. We've got some dart things to do. We'll get inside and set up, and I'll show you what's going on. We are up on the car here right now. We're gonna start doing some welding. So you remember that brake we showed you in the last video? And get in there and try and weld that crack up, get things filled in a little bit, and then, you know, once we see how that goes, we'll be able to determine what's next. Hopefully some additional bracing and things. Thanks to my buddy who refuses to be named, who came over with some supplies and is here to help me. What a guy. Sorry he's anonymous, but he's a great dude. Start putting my gloves on. Don't have a jacket though. I'm probably gonna light my shirt on fire. Let's take a peek. We got a halfway decent burn in there. Looks like we got some good penetration. So what we're going to do here at this point is brace this piece. We've got a flat piece of metal there, a strap piece. We're going to melt in across the top of it. Yeah, and that's pretty much all I had to say about that. I'm going to get to burning. How about a ground? They say that helps when you're welding. I'm going to pull that clamp off then and start welding the rest of it up. We'll know if I did okay if I undo this clamp and it stays together. We have a winner. Not great for the camera, but maybe you'll see some sparks. Woo! That's far. Well, we can see the penetration down here. And not the prettiest stuff, but functionality over feature. Yeah. Whoa, whoa. Better put this back on. I think we're all burned in on this. Some of the spots look better than others. So that's 100 times better than it was. It's actually got some meat in there. As far as the K-frame goes, I think we've got a couple of little spots that I'd like to clean up. I think when they modified the K-frame, did a little extra grinding, you know, some thin spots on things. So I want to fill a couple holes. Once I do that, on this back rack mount, you can see that it was dual drilled for multi-rack options, right? Yeah, probably. So what I'm gonna do is try and plate this. Once I get the rack back in, I'll know exactly which hole is the right one. Create some rigidity there as far as that goes. After that, we can start throwing things back together. So I have made a little bit of progress in the last little bit, but I didn't film much, unfortunately, as I was out here by myself. But we do have the rack back in the frame, in the K-frame, all beefed up and ready to go. As such, the lower control arms with their brand new bushings reinstalled, attached back at the ball joints again, strut rods in, and of course the torsion bars. They remain unadjusted at this point. I'm not going to do anything like that till I get the drivetrain back in the car. Also waiting on some new inner tie rod ends to show up, and I'm converting this, well, this from a conventional tie rod end to a Heim joint, and we're going to see if we can't change the angle of the dangle there a little bit, see if it'll steer a little bit better. If I have to, I can put it back together the way it was. I feel good about driving it like that. You know, going straight, it's always been good. And I think at this point we can get ready to stuff the engine back in the car. I was going to change the oil pan, but the one I was going to change it to is worse. So I think a new pan is definitely on the horizon. Also got some gasket work to still do on the transmission. It took me a little bit, but she's in. Not quite hooked up to everything just yet, but the engine is in place, bolted in. Some things hooked up. The headers are on. I got to remember what I did with my dipstick. That'll be fun. Quick little update. Dang, it's messy. Got a little cleaning to do still, but I do have all the seals I was going to replace in the trans all switcherooed. That front input shaft seal replaced. Put a new gasket here over where the C-clip is that holds the tail shaft on to the shaft. And the speedometer, I really need to replace that with something not speedometer-ish. But I O-ringed it, so hopefully that does the job. And, you know, since I had the pan all off and everything, I threw a new pan gasket on it as well. Now the bad news, I was experimenting with Heim joints. Everything's too long with the factory ball joint. So the Hack N Pinion installation that I'm trying to correct is gonna have to go back to a conventional tie rod. But I did order some new inner tie rods. These, by the original installer, had been cut. And by my estimation, they shaved about an inch off. And so if nothing else, at least I can fix, you know, give myself a little bit more toe in, toe out adjustability, which did seem to be one of the problems I had. That said, it's still gonna steer like a freaking box truck, and that's fantastic, as long as it continues to go straight. So we're gonna put it back the way we had it, unfortunately, once we have the new inner tie rod. So at this point, what I need to do, since I'm still waiting on those and hoping that they get here in time, I'm gonna put the tires on it so I can drop it off of the in-rack jack, so I can, well, fill that big empty space right there with a transmission. This is with just snugged up torsion bar adjuster bolts. I wish it could sit here. It looks so freaking good down in the weeds. But with the funky steering, I've got to crank it up a little bit. Well, it's not exactly what I was hoping to accomplish, but I feel it is better than it was. Talking about the tie rod situation, I did get my new ones. They came in, so I have a little bit more adjustability in my toe. And I feel like I've got that better than it was previous. So I'm happy about that. And I guess that's kind of one of the problems when you try to hack and pinion a Mopar with all the other factory components. You're changing the angle of the pull in the steer, and this needs to have movement similar to the control arm. We've got it to where I feel good about it, and knowing that nothing's broke and that I have better adjustability, I definitely feel like it's going to be safer than it was. Still got a few things to do as far as got to change the oil, put a new filter on there. I do have the transmission up and in. I had to kind of do that the hard way since I still don't quite have a transmission jack yet. But what I did was use this toolbox over here, set the transmission on top of it, lowered the car down over it till it was close, and used blocks of wood like that to give me a little lever action to be able to tilt the transmission to and fro. And this is so much better putting this transmission in than laying on my back. If you know, you know. Because I can get my hand all the way up and over this transmission in this tunnel. One of the good things about this build, I'm going to turn this off for a minute. We'll catch back up in a bit. I'm going to start hooking stuff up, tightening bolts, seeing where we can get. Day 742. We're almost ready. We really are almost ready. At least as far as the car goes. Engine's back in, trans is back in, everything, of course I say that, everything is hooked up. As far as the car goes right now, engine oil, transmission fluid, water, fuel, and we should be able to go take it for a test drive. And then I'm going to try and get it loaded with a few days to spare, especially since we have rain in the forecast. Outside the garage, still dirt, a little bit of rain. It makes that a disaster as far as mud, driving through that, no fun. Don't forget to tighten that jam nut T. So I hate to say it, this is actually the second start. I did start it to check transmission fluid, make sure it had oil pressure and all that good stuff. But now we're moving it out of the garage. We're going to get ready to get this sucker in the trailer. I wish this is where it could sit. One day, perhaps, when I do that K-frame swap-a-rooney. But I've got it out here on my front driveway, just trying to do some torsion bar adjustments, getting that happy. And I think we'll be close. I gotta wash it too. Quick little burn to make sure everything feels and sounds good. I guess we're good. All right, let's get this thing cleaned up, and then hopefully I can get it loaded in the trailer. Well, she's as shiny as she's going to be at this stage. Of course, scrub this wheel. This top tee. I'll have to hit it with some Windex or something. Shine it up a little bit more. The wheels literally, the wheels literally are the only thing to shine on this car. Other than me when I'm sitting in it. Definitely have to give the windows a good again when we get to the event. And that's Matt's, folks. Muscle Cars at the Strip. The car's ready. Now I just got to get the rest of things ready. But that's why I wanted to have this done with a few days to spare, so I could deal with the little things, the lists, making sure we got all our supplies, all that fun business.